Okay, for number 2 here, we have solve for x, and we have a proportion, which is two ratios. A ratio is written a lot of times like a fraction, two ratios that are equal or equivalent. So we have x plus 5 over x minus 1 equals 2/3. Now, to do a problem like this, we're actually going to do cross products, which means the product of these two here, the means, is going to equal the product of these two here. So that means 3 times x plus 5. So we're going to write that down, 3, and we use parentheses for times. X plus 5 has to equal 2 times x minus 1. So 2 times x minus 1. Now I'm going to go over to the side for a second just to show another example to show how cross products work. We know that 1/2 is the same as 2/4. So using cross products, 1 times 4 equals 2 times 2. So 4 equals 4. So we know that this always works, so we can use it here. So 3 times x plus 5 and 2 times x minus 1. So now we have an equation, so we have to go about getting that equation solved. Our first step is to get rid of parentheses. Since we cannot do inside the parentheses, we use the distributive property. This is 3 times x, which equals 3x. Bring down the plus. This is 3 times 5, which equals 15. Equal signs, usually we line those right up. Then over here, 2 times x equals 2x minus 2 times 1, which equals 2. Okay, so now we have this equation, and our goal of any equation is to isolate the variable so that we get x equals whatever our answer is going to be. So first thing we're going to do is get our x's over to one side. So that means we have to completely get rid of this. Now if we divided it by 2, we'd still have the x. In order to completely get rid of it, we're going to actually subtract 2x. And whatever we do to one side of the equation, we're going to automatically do to the other side of the equation. So now that we've put that down on both sides, then we get here 1x, which is actually the same as x, plus 15. We didn't use that, we bring it down. This equals 0, and 0 minus 2. So on a number line, if you start at 0 and you go backwards 2, you end up at a negative 2. So in a sense, we're bringing the minus sign down as a negative. Okay? So now we have it in this form, and at this point here, we have to get the x by itself. So we know that anything plus 0 is going to be itself, so we're going to make this into a 0. The way we get rid of 15 is the same thing we did here. We subtract 15, and whatever we do to one side, we do to the other. Okay. So now, this equals 0, so we have 1x, which is actually the same as x, and then we have negative 2 minus 15. So on a number line, we'd start at 0, we would go backwards 2, then we have to go backwards 15 more, which means if we counted, we're going to go back 17. So x is going to equal negative 17.